Sorry about that. I got originally cut off the overall SD card. Ended up running out of space, so I had to get another one. Thanks to my lovely fiance, she had another one waiting in the wings for me. So I was able to continue on with this. So where we got previously left off at was our interpretation and conclusion. So as I was saying, after reviewing the results from the survey, a few areas like I said, ended up surprising me more than I had originally expected them to. Beginning with our first question about gender, over 30 out of all the 30 survey participants, 66% of the respondents were female, while the other respondents, the overall other 34%, were actually male. According to the information, as I spoke about earlier, from ATVN, I was surprised to read by the Annenberg Television News article that women were twice as likely to use electronic devices while driving versus men. So with most of our respondents being female, while the other, about 4% of them were actually all male, I was curious to see if most of my respondents happened to text while driving, since most of them were female. I found the information to be very interesting, as it was a great setup into later questions of the survey, which was in addition to women being more text savvy when behind the wheel, with either texting or on the phone or searching the web while behind the wheel. It actually says also in that article from ATVN that the worst age range happened to be in the teenage range. Like I said, it was mostly teenage girls were twice as likely to text while driving versus teenage boys. Which leads into the second question of what age range the participants qualify themselves in. Out of all the age ranges, the age range of 16 to 25 was the highest, with 70% of respondents choosing this answer. With this information given to us from ATVN, I am rather curious if most of the female participants in the group actually do use their cell phones while behind the wheel, as the article and the information inside the article state that teenage girls are twice as likely to text versus teenage boys, when most of my respondents are mostly female and right at 70%, so mostly 3/4 of my respondents were in the 16 to 25% age range. I'm actually really curious if most of my respondents actually do text while driving. So moving on just a little bit, after the demographics, we got to the actual body part of the report and the choices these individuals chose about the cell phone usage when behind the wheel of the vehicle. So even after the information given to us by the ATVN, I was also happy to learn that when asking the participants what is most important to them when getting behind the vehicle, 80% of the respondents said that safety and the safety of others was their number one main priority. So you get into the car, a lot of people like to check the radio, a lot of people like to check their phone. 70% of my respondents said that safety and the safety of others was their most important thing, which I found to be really good, because that shows that they're even more safe. There was 4, like I said earlier, that chose that the radio and finding your favorite music was their number one priority, and one respondent choosing gas and the length of their trip was also their main priority. However, after looking over the results, it makes me very curious to learn that if the study given to us by ATVN about the teenage girls twice as more testing and driving versus teenage boys, I'm actually curious to see if the survey given to us by ATVN was a false pretense, because over 3/4 of our respondents were in the age range of 16 to 25. But over 80% of the respondents chose safety as their number one concern. This is kind of like a problem area of the survey, because of 16 to 25-year-olds, if 70% of my respondents chose that answer, and according to the survey from ATVN, that if most like teenage girls and also just young women in general are twice as likely to text versus teenage boys. However, on the other end of the spectrum, 70% of my respondents says that safety and the safety of others is their number one concern. I'm actually curious as to which one of these answers was a lie. Maybe none of them are a lie, but as the data and the information from article states, one of these is actually a lie. So I found this to be really interesting. However, when asking about the actual dangers of cell phone usage while driving, over 92% of the respondents chose that cell phone usage was definitely dangerous, and 77% said that text messaging when behind the wheel of the vehicle was much more dangerous than calling someone when behind the wheel. After viewing these results, I was not that surprised because even though having any type of distraction when behind the wheel, it can be definitely dangerous. However, text messaging can be more dangerous because you're actually looking down. Like I spoke about earlier from the information given to us by texting and drivingsafety.com, that an individual that looks down a minimum of 5 seconds while text messaging and driving 55 miles an hour is actually driving the length of a football field at that speed. So this is how this can be more dangerous. If there's a car at the end of that football field and you're looking down for 5 seconds, you look back up, you crash into them going at 55 miles an hour. If you're making a call, you're going to be looking straight at the road, more than likely. So even though both are really dangerous, I believe that text messaging was much more dangerous, which my respondents did also say that text messaging was much more dangerous than making a call. In fact, no individual said that making a call was dangerous, and only just a small amount of the individuals said that both were equally dangerous. So lastly, the final point I'd like to touch on about my analysis was for my last question of, when these respondents like to see the idea of cell phone usage in the next 10 years. Half the answers actually surprised me, and the other half did not surprise me. And the part that did surprise me was the 21% of respondents chose that it should be banned nationwide, and half of the overall respondents chose it should be illegal for everyone except for emergency respondents on the road. This part, it did not surprise me. I was actually pretty thankful that this was most of the answers that were given. However, the half of the question that did surprise me was that 18% of respondents chose for it to stay, while the other 11% said that they could really care less. So overall, I just guess that all in all, it just really depends on how you use your cell phone, however you use it. A lot of people that don't use their phone whenever they're driving, I can see how they could care less, or believe there should be a nationwide stand on it. But people that are huge tech savvy and cannot live 5 seconds without their phone, I can see how they're the ones that are saying they hope that it stays legal. So like I said, all in all, I believe it's just really how much you use your phone. So looking at the recommendations, if I was to pinpoint all this information to a governor and see if I could get a law passed or not, I would be able to tell them about this. So after reviewing all the answers from the response to the survey, there are a few ideas that I would like to recommend. I chose about 3 of these that I came up with myself. I believe they'd be a pretty good amount of information to give, and hopefully something that we could actually talk about in the future. So according to ATVN, teenagers are the main age, or the main age group that are usually on their cell phones the most when behind the wheel. However, ATVN's article on the subject also states that teenage girls are twice as likely to be on an electronic device while behind the wheel more than teenage boys are. So since this is an issue, what I came up with is that I believe that to be able to keep this equal beside genders, so it can't be saying women are getting this law while men are not. I can see how this could be like a gender, not really like a gender issue, but more of as like a sexism issue. So to be able to keep that out of the hands, I believe that we should suggest that when a teenager under the age of 18 gets a vehicle and cell phone, that they have to take something that's called the pledge. The pledge has to be taken at a car dealership and also a cell phone company. And the pledge will be a written statement that the teenager has to fill out in order to proceed with the purchase of their vehicle or their cell phone. Once they have completed the pledge, they are given a bright colored industrial sticker that has to be placed on their vehicle and on their cell phone. So if an enforcer of the law happens to see this teenager using their cell phone while behind the wheel of a vehicle, they will have to ask the teenager to see their cell phone, and if they have their sticker on their cell phone and also on their car beside their license plate, let's say, if there's a sticker that cannot be removed on their cell phone and also on their car, and the proper actions have to be taken for their punishment. I believe this would be a really good issue. Teenagers really wouldn't be complaining because it'd probably be a small industrial sticker that can't come off, but nothing that's really like mess with their phone or anything. It's gonna be on their car. But if they get caught by an enforcer of the law and this happens, then they have to have the right amount of punishments come to them. Another recommendation that I would suggest would be that the amount of punishment that should be taken into effect if an individual was to be punished on using electronic devices while driving. According to my survey results, only 4% of the individuals said that there should not be a ban, so we would completely cut out that option. According to that data, however, 54% of respondents agreed that driving school classes with knowledgeable teachings of the dangers of using cell phones while driving was a great idea, as well as 57% of respondents believe that issuing a fine of between $100 to $500 would be a great idea as well. So I recommend that we should issue the ban as a Tennessee DUI charge. Since really technically these individuals will be driving under the influence, except under like alcohol or drugs, it's just under electronical usage basically. So for their first offense, I believe that we would have to give them the issue of either paying the fine of between $100 and $500 or attending the driving school class for 2 months. This is an option completely up to them. However, they have to choose one or the other. They have to be able to choose the $100 to $500, or they have to choose driving school, which is basically what we do already if you get pulled over. In Tennessee, if you get pulled over, you either have to pay the fine in city court or you have to take driving school. So this is completely up to them. After this, if they're caught again, however, then I believe the measure should be stepped up and the individual has to lose their license for 6 months. And then they have to do the complete opposite of the decision that they chose the first time. So for an example, let's say that they chose the to pay the fine the first time. They get pulled over again, they have to lose their license for 6 months, and then they have to have somebody drive them to driving school for the next 2 months. However, vice versa, if they're like, well, I want to do driving school, and they do driving school, and they get pulled over again, they have to pay the fine of $100 to $500 as well as attend. Also at the same time, having the luxury of their license completely gone for 6 months. So whatever option they chose the first time, they do the complete opposite of that first option, and also have to lose their license for the 6 months. So this really shows that, you know, the stakes are really getting stepped up high, and they need to stop doing what they're doing. And then, if they're caught again for the third time, I believe that they should have to spend 3 months in jail if they're an adult above the age of 18, or 3 months in juvenile detention if they are a minor under the age of 18. I know these are drastic measures, but these drastic measures have to be taken in order to get these individuals to learn the dangers of driving under the influence of electronic devices. A lot of individuals believe that safety is not that big of an option, that they are above the world whenever they're behind the wheel of a vehicle, and then nothing bad is going to happen. You know, they go 100 miles an hour on the interstate, nothing bad is going to happen. I actually had to report in a wreck the other day on the interstate coming back from Mississippi, and we actually had to pull the individual out of the car. His car was steaming, and all it was that he ran pretty fast into the back of somebody. It wasn't even a tasting issue. It was because traffic randomly stopped in front of him and he didn't have enough time to completely step on his brakes. So he ran to this other individual. His airbag had went off on him. There was smoke flying everywhere. And then we had to pull the individual out of the car. He was completely delirious. And we come to find out that before the ambulance got there, that he ended up breaking his leg. So, I mean, a lot of individuals believe that, you know, whenever you're behind the wheel of a vehicle, you're going to be safe. You know, nothing's going to get to you until the real big picture happens. So I believe that these drastic measures have to be taken to really be able to step up, not only, you know, really scare these individuals and be like, well, if I can do it 3 times, then I'm not going to go in jail. It's not what that's for. It's to help you learn the dangers of what you're doing. So like I said, I believe this would be the best option to treat the situation, is to be able to treat it kind of like a DUI charge, and after every offense, the punishment continues to get worse. And this way, they'll also know that they had the chance to technically straighten up. So, Those are my recommendations. As I said earlier, my references were handsfreeinfo.com, testinganddrivingsafety.com, atvn.org, which the article was written by Kayla Collin, IIHS, the international, I keep forgetting this, Insurance Interstate Highway Safety, NCSL, which is the National Constitution of state legislatures, and also CNBC to help also give a little bit of information out there. But that is it for my report, and I hope you enjoyed it, Professor Cliff. Thank you again for allowing me to be able to send this to you through video message, since I could not be in this in the class. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope that it was everything you were looking for whenever you learned the information earlier today, possibly, and after you're reviewing this video. Thank you again for allowing me to be able to do this, especially with, the amount of options that come to me within the past couple of months. I mean, thanks for having had my own apartment in those amount of time, but thank you for allowing me to do this with all these options coming up. So I really do appreciate it. I hope class is going well, and I will talk to you guys soon. But thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.